What's up, kid? Hector Rico here, and today I'm going to do a movie review for all four of the Ip Man movies that Donnie Yen made. Mhm. I can't really remember the last time I had a good time watching a movie. Nowadays, they're all just like a bunch of like weird political agenda movies, and they don't even want to tell a story no more. It's all just a bunch of CGI. So I really appreciated these movies for all the cinematography that really went into it, all the culture clash, and I actually encourage you all to go watch them. When you have autism, everything kind of looks like poetry in motion. Even if it isn't, it just turns out that way. And me, if you guys know me and you've seen some of my videos, you could tell I'm like this big time history buff. I love history. And this time I just let my guard down. I wasn't nitpicking like what's historically accurate or not. I just wanted to enjoy the show. And it's rare that I do that. I don't know why I did that. I did that with the Oppenheimer movie as well. One movie I didn't let that slide with was that Elvis movie that was in the movie theater a few years ago. That movie was a dumpster fire. I don't know how people enjoyed that thing at all. Everything about it was just dumb to me. If you guys don't know who Ip Man was the man that got the ball rolling on teaching Bruce Lee his Wing Chun Kung Fu. Throughout these movies, they kept on teasing Bruce Lee, but I'm glad they didn't make him like the center of the movies. These movies are about Ip Man and not Bruce Lee. But there's no way around it. You had to bring him up, though, here and there. I really liked the first movie because it kind of reminded me of that movie Cinderella Man. Ip Man came from this beautiful, like, luxurious house, but then because of the war breaking out, he lost everything except for his family. They stood by his side. And I really loved the storytelling. There was a lot of amazing storytelling going on. A hero is only as good as his villain, and Ip Man had some amazing villains in this series. I know that it was all choreographed, but I love the martial arts that were presented by Ip Man. It's like they say that you don't keep a striker standing up because then he'll have the advantage. Kind of like you don't take a submission wrestler to the ground because then he'll have the advantage. And Ip Man was a striker. He had a lot of crazy speed and agility to him. Something else that I really loved about the martial arts in this movie is that you don't always have to manhandle someone. You have to be very fluid. You have to like. It's kind of like, not only is it a game of chess, but it's a game of pool. There's a lot of physics going on. You have to be like. You have to be thinking. You have to be like smooth sometimes. What I really love about Ip Man, he carries himself like a Sigma male. He wasn't scared of anything. If he was scared, he let his fear fuel him. But instead of looking at something like a big obstacle, he just knew he had to figure out a way to overcome everything. He knew no matter what, he had to get the job done. He had to do what he had to do. And that's what I really love about him. He was a Sigma male. He was very noble. You could tell he really was like a family man. I really loved the second movie. Sammo Hung came out, and he was like I wouldn't say the antagonist, but he had to really duke it out with Ip Man, and I'll let you see that for yourself. Sammo Hung, he always has a lot of he has this really charismatic smile, this presence. Like you pretty much love any movie he does, and he never disappoints you. And one thing you'll notice about these Ip Man movies, they have a lot of pretty much the exact same undertones that the old school Bruce Lee movies had, about all the oppression and all the discrimination against the Chinese. You'll come to see that a lot in these Ip Man movies, just like the old school Bruce Lee movies. To me, it's not my cup of tea, but it amazes me that it sells, and for whatever reasons it sells. But nowadays, when people think of a martial arts movie, they think of like Jason Statham and John Wick, and who else would be another one? Like Jason Bourne. That's all a bunch of trick editing and a bunch of like nonsense. It's like, that's not real martial arts, but people always consider it that. It's not my cup of tea. I never really liked it. I always thought it just looked silly whenever John Wick gets run over by a car and then he just stands up and dusts himself off, like if that couldn't break a bone or snap his spinal cord or something. That just looks so ridiculous to me. That's why I couldn't get into those. Another reason I didn't like the John Wick movies was because, like, if you're going to duke it out, especially like hand-to-hand combat, at least take your jacket off, man. That way you could be more like mobile. That looks silly too. That's but that's just what sells these days. You'll notice that Ip Man, to me, I thought it was amazing. I thought it was really cool that he pretty much took the Tao of Jeet Kune Do approach, that if you could find somebody's like center, you could pretty much control the whole fight like a dance. And he would pretty much either back you up into a corner or he'd pin you exactly the way he wanted to. And he's just on top of you, just throwing punches at you. He's basically treating you like his wooden dummy that he attacks. I thought that was really neat, and I thought that was really cool. I'm glad he would do that in the movies. And the third one, this one was kind of freaky to me. I won't nitpick too many things, but because like I said, there's only a handful of complaints I really have about this movie. And they put Mike Tyson in this movie. He has like a long drawn out fight with Ip Man, but here and there they made him talk without like his lisp. I'm not sure if they tried dubbing over somebody else's voice over Mike Tyson, but that thing sounds ridiculous. He talks really weird in that movie. And another thing, it's the 50s, but yet he has that facial tattoo. That kind of thing would have been unheard of. One of the problems I really had with these movies is like the police. You can't even tell they're police. They just walk around wearing like one of those members only jackets, or they just walk around wearing like a 40-year-old man jacket, and it's like, how can you tell that's a cop? But apparently they can. I didn't understand that, and I didn't like that. And the third movie, I don't know whose idea it was, but you'll notice like the epic conclusion kind of, I won't give it away too much, but something that really stood out to me was he does the 1-inch punch. That was Bruce Lee's most famous move, the 1-inch punch. You could find that video floating around here and there, but why did they downplay it? They should have hammed it up to no end. It's like, the 1-inch punch. It's famous. And they just did the 1-inch punch and acted like nothing even happened, yet it finished the whole fight. And maybe because it was dubbed over in English that it came out that way, but I doubt it. But I didn't like that. And I must have really gotten into these movies because I saw them all over like the course of a week. I couldn't put them down. Each one must have been at least like pushing 2 hours, but I really got into it. It felt like an hour passed by, but I really got into these movies, and it's rare that I like do something like that. And by the fourth one, you'll notice this too. And in the fourth one, it kind of reminds me of that X-Men trilogy that starts off like in the 60s, but it ends in the 1990s, and nobody ages. And that's what those four Ip Man movies were like. Like, they don't age, they just take place throughout different decades. And that's like another problem I had. And but other than that, I mean, there's not too many complaints. I wouldn't mind recommending like these movies to everybody. And um, you don't see people like that anymore. You don't see characters like that anymore. Not only did he know that he could beat you up, but what he did, he wasn't trying to humiliate you. He was trying to teach you a lesson in humility. And so he wasn't a loudmouth. He was very stoic. That's what I really liked about this character. Donnie Yen really pulled it off. He did a really good job at this. And these movies gave me this big time feeling of nostalgia. I just remember being like in my mid to late teens, and I had every Bruce Lee book, and I read every Bruce Lee book. That was like the early 2000s. The UFC hadn't come into its own yet. It didn't really blow up till it had that reality TV show, The Ultimate Fighter. But it was kind of picking up momentum, and people kind of had an idea of what the UFC and MMA was, but they didn't really fully understand it. But now it's like the $1 million question. How would Bruce Lee fare up in the octagon, you know? And it just like, it brought back a lot of memories to when I was like reading all those books, and I just remember so many things that Bruce Lee said in the Tao of Jeet Kune Do, especially. And I think Donnie Yen, I'm pretty sure that was him in the last John Wick movie. He played that blind man, and he stole the show. That should just tell you how much talent he really has. Always kept putting it off and putting it off. I'm like, I don't want to watch Ip Man just yet. I had one friend who recommended it, but I couldn't allow myself to have a good time just yet. And I loved him. I loved him. I love the Ip Man movies, and I'm glad I had an opportunity to watch all of them this week. I made time to watch them all, and they didn't disappoint me. I'm just surprised how much fun I really had watching them all, and I'm pretty sure you would too. Alright, everybody. Don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe.